Hey folks, my name is Pravus and welcome to more Plague Inc. Evolved Custom Scenarios. Today we're going to try a scenario that I almost passed on because I'm afraid of accidentally dating myself, but we're going to take the plunge. It is Disco Fever. This scenario somehow has climbed up toward the top of the workshop charts twice now. I'm not really sure how it keeps coming back, but just like disco, it seems to have its revival, so we're going to give it a go today. This is created by an author whose name I'm not going to say out loud because I look at it and my instincts say this is one of those trap names where you say something very inappropriate. Reading it, I don't necessarily see the problem, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The unexpected and unexplained return of Disco Fever is taking the USA by storm and is expected to quickly go worldwide. But what caused the trend's sudden return? And is it really as harmless as they say? I don't know. Was disco ever really harmless? I'm just saying, for a music genre, there's way too many songs about people burning up, right? Burn, baby, burn. A disco inferno. You get the idea. Lots of those kinds of things. ATP boost, genetic mimic, aquasonic streamophile, and symptostasis. Mega brutal. Probably a big mistake since, yep, we are indeed about to start in the USA. Okay, this may go poorly for me, but we'll give it a go. Welcome to the Disco Fever scenario. Help the 70s craze of disco dancing make a comeback of epic proportions and make the world regret that it did. I don't think that's going to take too much effort, all right? Let's be honest. The younger generations, we look back at disco and say, that's a pretty cringy dancing style and stuff, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not a hater. I'm just going to say I'm not a hater of disco. We'll come back to that in a second, though. Let's take a look at our transmissions. We have fluids and air, birds, rodents, and livestock. A pretty standard lineup, though a different icon here, and rearranged. So I'm not sure where this is going to go. For symptoms, we do start off with discomania. Infected have an intense desire to dance like it's 1979, regardless of the current date. And increased temperature. The increased core body temperature rises slightly, causes discomfort. I told you people were going to start burning. I mean, I granted, it's literally part of the whole fever thing. I get that, but whatever. Maybe they'll actually catch on fire by the end of this. I wouldn't be surprised. How the heck do you say this? Myasthenia gravis? Maybe. Improper stimulation of the muscles by the nerves cause more easily induced tiredness. Okay, so like muscle spasms and stuff. Immaturity. Would you really say that this is a very immature thing to like disco? I feel like only the very refined and elderly folks generally like it. That said, I don't know. I mean, I won't lie. I was the kid on the T-ball field when I was 5 years old who was doing a disco dance instead of actually playing the game. So, like, maybe there's some truth to it. I don't know. Excessive sweating. The loss of liquid through the skin is greatly increased. That makes sense. Abilities, we have a pretty normal setup here, except for Flash Boogie. Infected will subconsciously recognize each other and dance spontaneously in the streets. Oh good, it's a flash mob. Reduces severity due to the lighthearted and fun nature. That's just to lure you off your guard before we kill you. All right, transmission. I'm gonna go ahead and start with rodents because we are in the United States and we are an urban country. Though weirdly enough, I don't really consider the USA to be that urban. I mean, yes, there are swaths of it that are very urbanized on par with Europe. And then there are huge tracts of lands that are very, very open and undeveloped. So, I mean, I'd say it's kind of like a bit of a both, but, you know, whatever, it's fine. What else do we want to do? Do we go for rodent 2? Yeah, I think I just go ahead and double down on this. Let's go for rodent number 2 so I can build up a little bit faster in the USA. We will have to go for some early drug resistance in order to have any chance of building up some speed and getting out of here. So that might actually be the next thing that I go for, even though we are actually building up a bit here. Immaturity comes up for free. I mean, that's fine. I need 11 DNA points for this next one. Remember, we're going to have that genetic drift kicking in here pretty soon, but this will help a little bit. We'll need to get things like air transmission since we did just see the sterilization of air filters. So that's going to be important for me. That's going to also cost me 11 DNA points, which we now have. Thank you very much. Now, as I was saying, I am not what I would call a disco hater, all right? I understand it's a little on the older side and all that, and some of the songs are just kind of like the music style. It just doesn't totally fit with today's jive. But some of it's pretty good. You know, you listen to old disco and it's like, you know what? The Bee Gees are actually pretty great. Everyone likes Staying Alive, right? People like I Will Survive. I will survive, right? Everyone likes that kind of stuff. So maybe there's something timeless and classy, I guess, is what I'm trying to say about disco. Funnily enough, when I was in high school, I actually had to write a mini thesis on the cultural revolution we thought we were seeing back in like the 90s and 2000s in China, a kind of a cultural revolution that was occurring there as they were starting to liberalize their society, and they were actually picking up on a lot of old United States trend. Disco dancing actually was becoming a big thing in China for a while, believe it or not. Now, I would say they've completely reverted with their current leadership setup. I'm not going to talk too much about that beyond what you probably already can guess, but yeah, there was a time here where we actually thought they were kind of starting to act like 70s USA, and give it a bit of time, they'd actually start catching up to us, and we'd enter into a new golden age. That didn't happen. That did not happen at all, did it? No, it did not. What do we want to go for? You know, I could go for the normal resistances, but since the United States is a neutral country, I think I'm going to start by going for bacterial resilience. And we'll just pick up a little bit of cold and heat resistance at the same time. It's not as good as being, like, actually specialized, but it's going to have to be good enough. Our spread is unbelievably slow right now, by the way. We could go for the Flash Boogie to make it so people are less likely to start curing me, but I don't know. I don't feel like we can really afford to do that. The severity, actually, if anything, needs to go higher so I can start making some more DNA. We got the sweating, so we could go for photophobia. Infected will avoid direct sunlight. Oh, good. We're gonna turn into a bunch of, well, basically a bunch of disco vampires. That's fun. Mania-induced affection, desire for physical contact with others, particularly while dancing. No, that's just being a hippie. Increasing infectivity, not severe due to being passed off as friendly behavior instead. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. You look at some of the social movements that happened in the USA just in the last, like, decade or so. You tell me that's gonna get passed off as friendly behavior. I don't think so. Somebody's going to get walked away in handcuffs. That's what's going to happen. Hyperactivity just fired immediately afterwards. So we started off as friendly and then immediately became hyperactive. Excessive production of testosterone and adrenaline. Uh-huh. Yeah, seems great. Seems really great. Let's go ahead and pick up the Pravus here just to see what happens. Cardiomyopathy. The heart muscles become stretched and weakened, reducing its ability to pump blood, fatal in extreme cases. Not really looking to pick that up. I just wanted a little more severity so we can get some more DNA. And now I really need to be getting things like that drug resistance level 2, because we are not spreading very fast here. Not at all, sir. Especially in places like Europe, which is one of the few places the US here is going to be very well connected to. So if we're not spreading faster, that actually will become a problem. Let's go for another level of bacterial resilience. Just keep building this up a little bit. To speed things along, I'm going to go ahead and grab some livestock to help with the rural areas. I don't actually know if this build is any good, by the way. I'm just totally winging this. We could go for some air 2 or some fluids 2. Probably going to go for the fluids 2 just for the ship transmission. That's probably more important to me than the air transmission at the moment. We got into Greenland surprisingly early, so it's really the eastern islands that are an issue. Madagascar, Indonesia, Philippines, New Guinea, and New Zealand all going to be a thing. We did get into Australia at the last second there, which is nice. Could go for birds level 2. That is a lot of extra infectivity, so I'm tempted. Good and wealthy and humid countries, the fluids, really? Interesting. I'm going to go for some more air transmission for the arid environments, so I do think we're going to have some issues in places like the Middle East and in Africa, and Madagascar actually could become a problem very quickly here for us. But beyond that, what else would make sense? Fatigue? I don't know about that one. I might actually want to go for another level of bacterial resilience. And have they really started much on the cure? Not a lot. Things are pretty slow there. They really are. Could go for some heat resistance. And I will, because I think that actually that's going to become a problem. Like, surprisingly, we got in all the cold places I care about. It's going to be spreading around in Africa and Southeast Asia. That's going to become a problem for us very quickly. So let's work on that. Could go for the Flash Boogie, but that's 13 DNA, just kind of wasted in my opinion. So I'm not sure that's what I want to go for. Let's go ahead and pick up the photophobia. That leads to subconjunctival bleeding. So their eyes start turning red. Hardly noticeable in new environments. The infected seek out, blah, blah, blah. Engorged. Manipulation of the stomach nerves make people feel as though they are full and do not need to eat. Well, that's just GLP-1s. Everyone's on Ozempic, okay? This basically is just free severity. I'll pick it up to start and see what we get. Insomnia, compulsion, dampening of the host's survival instincts, a little bit of lethality as they basically just put off eating and sleeping in favor of more disco dancing, which is cool, I guess. Let's go for pseudo-ADHD. Energy levels are now similar to that of ADHD sufferers, can draw attention to the disease. Misspelled, missing an S, don't think I didn't notice that. Compulsion just fired off. We actually might have a little bit too much mutation chance, which concerns me. We got into into New Zealand at the last second. I'm going to go ahead and pick up a couple levels of Flash Boogie just to reduce that severity, because I'm kind of worried about getting into Indonesia. Dance fighting. Mobs of disco dancers become aggressive to non-disco dancers and will dance fight them in the streets. Makes the disease significantly less serious to the public. I would say if they're committing rampant assault, that would be a severe problem, but okay. We actually got into every country in the world. You're freaking kidding me. How did we pull that one off? I don't even know. Let's go for cardiomyopathy. That leads to things like cardiac arrest and ADHF. All right, sure, that sounds good. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of any other disco references. I won't pretend that I know an absolute ton about it. There are probably some people in my Discord server, that you all know who you are, that might be old enough that could give some good information around that. I don't know. It's just never really been my thing entirely, but I do like it on occasion. When I hear it, I do turn the radio up, all right? The disco fever mutation patterns are extraordinary. Shocker. Let's go ahead and grab a level of cold resistance. We're not spreading fast enough in Greenland, which does worry me. Hemorrhagic shock would be a pretty good way of getting a lot of people killed. We've also got the Adrenergic storm. I know it's adrenaline, but for some reason just tossing on ergic at the end just throws my brain for a loop. Giant overdose of adrenaline causes the heart to give out and the host to die. So we got two very lethal options along here. Mutation might... Oh, well, we just got it whether I like it or not. Okay, we might be killing too fast in Greenland. Let's pay attention to this, because that is going to be an issue. But now we're going to start generating a lot of DNA, because people are going to start dying right and left. I mean, if anything, like, all I really care about is probably getting another level of cold resistance. At 37 DNA, that is an insane cost. But okay, so that's making good progress. We're still building up in Angola. We should be still building up in Botswana. We are, albeit not quickly enough for my comfort. Angola could become a problem. So let's go ahead and grab a level of heat resistance as well. And then how we do on that cure. 62% progress? That's a little scary. I don't want to increase the lethality anymore, though. I'm kind of nervous about that. Let's go over the subconjunctival bleed. Hypercoagulation is a thing, sure. Obsession, What do we need here? This is considered to be poor and hot. Well, sad news, I don't have anything that's good in poor and hot areas. Unfortunately, I have arid and stuff like that, but that's kind of it. This is the thing I'm worried about, you know? Maybe we have to go for the environmental hardening at 49 DNA. Let's pay attention here on Angola. It is building up steam. It is. There we go, starting to barely hit that critical mass. Okay, we got the hemorrhagic shock. So actually, we're gonna be okay, it looks like. Wow, I can't believe I pulled this off. Considering this is indeed, you know, starting off in the United States on Mega Brutal. That should be really hard to pull off. We're gonna get a terrible score. I make no illusions about that, but I am surprised how well that worked out. So any other symptoms pop up here? Let's go ahead and just grab the obsession. Let's see what that gets to. To the death! Complete dampening of survival and self-preservation instincts. Hosts will literally dance until they drop dead. Extremely worrying and difficult to cure. Effectively, it is a coma, which I would happily get in order to reduce the cure progress a little bit more for some final score, but it's fine. It's fine, we'll make it go, it's all right. Anyway, funny enough, like, I don't know in the United States if there is a disco revival happening right now. I've not really heard anyone talk about it, but I'll say, there are worse things that I could imagine happening. You know, if there were a disco revival in the United States, I actually could probably get behind it. I think it'd be kind of fun to go to a disco party. Wear those ridiculous glamour outfits and just start dancing to disco music. Actually sounds kind of good. Maybe that makes me old. I don't know. It might make me old for appreciating old things now and stuff instead of being cool and hip. But I'm kind of reaching an age in my 30s where I'm like, I don't even care anymore. I already can't relate to Gen Z very much. Why not just embrace it? I'll just lean into the older generation. It's so old, it's cool. Anyway, 598 days, 55% cure progress, 38,423 points and 2 stars. Better score than I expected. Not great, but better score than I expected for sure. I actually think this is a pretty good scenario. It's pretty well put together. It's got a lot of customization. It sticks to a theme pretty darn well. There's many different ways to play it. You don't have to go down all the symptom branches. Just 2 of them would have been fine. But at least there's different ways you can take it. And starting off the United States is a challenge, but I pulled it off on Mega Brutal, which means it's not that unbalanced. So I'd say actually, yeah, it deserves a 5 stars. Surprisingly good scenario. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.